Hello, everyone. This is Happy Valley Hobbies, and I'm Mr. Katie, and these are hobbies that make me happy. This is live stream number 6, and today is all about the Amhurst Hall. Hello, everyone. Wound up going. This is Happy Valley Hobbies, and I'm Mr. Katie, and my new job is sort of, being a little bit rough on me. So I'm not 100% on top of my game. But I am here and I'm doing my best. Basically, no one, I haven't figured out how to do, sort of like letting everyone know that I'm going to be on. But here I am. And with Amhurst, wound up going on Sunday instead of Saturday, because the weather was a little on the airy side. And so it's one of those things of, getting down there, wind up getting to meet some people that I've only met through the computer. One was Humanity Junction. Heath was basically taking pictures of all the vendors. I guess on Saturday he took pictures of all the layouts. Now he's doing on Sunday he was doing all the vendors. So, and he wound up giving me not only a pin, but also a very fancy sticker also, which is prismatic because it has gives all different things. I also met Corey from Irish Trains for a short bit. Talked with him and his mother. The father was there, but, at the beginning, but he just kept on going. Towards the end, before everyone started closing up and all that, I came across Chris Course at Conguino Models, and also I'm blanking on his name. I am so sorry, but the gentleman from Motrack Models. I want to say Fred, but for some reason that might not be correct. As I said, the new job has sort of got me running a little ragged at this point. Last week and the beginning of this week, they had me, basically palleting foam and cardboard. But now they have changed over to putting me into shipping and receiving. And so that's been interesting to learn. The guy that I'm working under and all that, I just found out today that he's into model cars, not necessarily model trains, but into model cars, does trucks and stuff like that. And he knows, that as soon as I said Amherst, he's like, "Oh, the train show, right?" It's like, why, yes. So I got some commonality there. Unfortunately, one of the hobby shops that I used to frequent when they first started out, the owner of that has passed away. JP Trains and Hobbies. Years, almost a decade ago, the J part of JP Trains and Hobbies, Joan, had passed away, and now Paul has passed away. And it's sad, but it's the last time I was in the store, he was not doing very well, and I did not see them. Someone who came in and said, "Yeah, he's not really recognizing people and all that." And I did not want to have that as, sort of the last memory of him. So I decided not to see him, and he's not going to recognize me. There's no point. But now, basically, what we all had came here for is to look at what I got from Hamhurst. Let's see, we'll go back to this camera and we'll go that way. Unfortunately, I'm set up for either doing live streaming or the workbench. I have not gotten to the point where I'm able to do both. So, because right now there's no, the workbench has the layout on it in my live my setup is not really set up for flats. Now I don't want to say for flat screens, but not set up for the screens are not set up for where the workbench and layout are. So hence things are a little discombobulated. All right, and the screen that watches YouTube is of course the farthest one away. So I can keep on top of chat. All right, I'll have to go that direction. So for a lot of things I was specifically looking for Amhurst was basically locomotives from the 1870s. Specifically, things crashed to the floor. Is this style of locomotive? This is the mold is called has been called, I've seen, is called the Lily Bell. Or not the Lily Bell, the Dixie Bell. And it's actually a model, from what I understand, of the most filmed locomotive in the world. This is basically the Sierra number 3. It's been on so many different TV shows. It's been in movies, and it's figured out as the most photographed locomotive in the world at this point. It helped that it was the Cannonball, the Hooterville Cannonball, which is the TV show was Petticoat Junction, and this was the locomotive that was sort of like a character / star of the show. From the business cards I picked up at the show. One of the things is that before getting a new job, I was looking for employment, and apparently Soundtracks does have jobs that are open. The only major disadvantage is that you have to actually go to Colorado, and right now I just do not have the funds to do so. And some more of that. looks like this one's missing the 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 oh, excuse me, the load for the wood and all that, but that's okay. It's basically, these were basically buying buying these more for parts and for actually more for parts than actual working locomotives. It's nice that they do work. The main issue with this style locomotive is that, flip this over, one, you'll notice that the main drive wheel is actually, they're blind, designed to go from really sharp turn, and also to increase its pulling power. There's also a rubber tire on the rear here. Willing that both these toys. Yes, there's the rubber tire. It's on the, and this one, it's on the opposite side. No, it's on the same side. But you know, one having to deal with replacing the tires, them coming off, also annoying. But as you can see, it's the same. It's pretty much the same one. This one has a different stacks on it. And another interesting thing is, from what I understand, it's that this is not HO. This is actually double O. I guess at the time, the motor that they have is, see the back of the motor actually goes all the way back to the cab. It's a very large motor. It's not tender drive, but because the motor is basically right here, it takes up a massive amount of room. And I guess in order to be able to fit this mold, I think, was originally, I want to say, made in the 50s. It was before, apparently it was actually, this was built and designed before the TV show, but it was the TV show Petticoat Junction that made it really take off. And the interesting thing is that for the set, you can actually buy the Cannonball, the Hooterville Cannonball set, and it had a combine, but it also had extra cars also, which in the TV show it only had the combine. Running along those lines. This engine was also in Back to the Future 3. It was a little sort of out of the ordinary, because Back to the Future 3, they went back down to 1885. This locomotive was built in 1890 something, so it, technically shouldn't have been in the movie, but that's how it is. But this was sort of like the main thing I was aiming for, because it seems that in order to get one working locomotive, because the wheel sets, you need 3 locomotives, because there's only one set that actually, only the front set has no tires on it, and it has flames. But that's that's how much that is. I'm not quite sure what the BRSD railroad is. It says Ironhorse, so it's definitely not after the TV show, which you would have said Hooterville Cannonball, and I forgot exactly what the letters were for that. That's that style of models that I bought. This right there. Now, next style that I got, it was actually labeled parts, so I got this for relatively cheap. This is a Coacher style American, missing a headlight, drive shaft, the pin for this, rear coupling. But as I said, this I'm buying, bought more for the other ones that I have. This is a nice fully running one that I already have. So this is basically the parts engine for, you know, when something goes wrong with this. But again, you know, sort of like what you expect from an American style locomotive, you know, having a drive, tender drive, large motor in here. But I was buying some of these so I can have them like an experiment, be able to experiment on, you know, how to get rid of the tender drive and put the motor directly into here. So if anyone has thoughts on that, I'll throw some suggestions down in the comments or in the chat. Unfortunately, where the monitor is, it's actually a little hard to actually see the chat from where I got it. But you know, it's one of those things I'm slowly learning on all the little details that I've done. Another single one. This is actually might not be for parts. They already have parts engine for the Jupiter. I also have a Bachmann for the 119, so I could throw up a thing of the golden spike ceremony. But again, this style has a drive shaft on, fender drive with the drive shaft. Also a tire on the wheel. Another thing is that with this particular type, they also, you know, there's no, the cab is filled completely with metal. But one of those things I'm again trying to see which one is good enough for the bird stuff. I have heard that the new Bachmann style actually has the motor in the drivetrain. But it's one of those things I'm planning on modifying and painting stuff and all that, and it's sort of like really you know, don't really want to take a brand new locomotive and start cutting it up, especially when they're not cheap, especially the ones with the sound modules. But that is the Bachmann style. So I got that. And now this one I do not know the manufacturer of. This is like the worst one out of the bunch. Actually, you can see where some of the gears had actually broke off. It seems to be, I don't know if this is actually made after a prototype. The other ones sort of are. This one, I don't know. It looks too, I don't know. There's just something not quite right with it. The interesting thing is that the motor is, whereas the motors on the other ones are sort of like needing a worm gear to change the direction of the power. The motor on this one, had this apart. The motor is back here. There's a worm drive, but then there's like a
gear tower like you would find on a diesel locomotive that would go to both these wheels. This one broke off, but the thing is that since there's two sets of wheels, it's still solid. It almost looks like some kind of made up toy, I guess. I mean, everything is there, but something's not quite right. But this one, this one's a single. This is the only one that I own. So, and I'm not very impressed with the quality of the build. So this might, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this, but this might not actually wind up on the layout. Now that's for that. Now for the other ones that I got the ever so fun and popular Mantua General. Now this is in a Cox box, but it says it's also a log dump. So I'm assuming this is definitely not the original box. And so pull this out. I'll try to at least there. And oh wow, this is sealed. This is the second locomotive I've gotten with this paint scheme that's been sealed. What are the odds? I mean, it's not in the correct box, but it is still sealed. Interesting. I mean, this is not the greatest paint scheme. And, it's more of a fantasy paint scheme because they don't. I never saw a blue firebox. But the interesting thing is that this is not the only general that I got. I actually wound up buying not just one, not two, not three, but I actually bought four. Again, these are more parts locomotives. It looks like this might not be a part locomotive. I might just leave it just sealed. But this one's definitely a candidate for experimentation because it looks like it already has been. Already looks like it's already been taken off paint-wise. Now the interesting thing with this one, or this military one, you notice that these have a single wire that goes from here to here to the tender, and that's so it can provide power to the motor. This particular one has two wires. One's from the goes to the motor. The other one, at first, I thought went to the headlight because that would make sense. But as you can see, there's no light there. This actually is a smoke unit, or at least that's what I believe that it is. I have never seen this with a smoke unit before, so I don't plan on keeping the smoke unit because smoke units very rarely I've been able to see them have decent amount of actual smoking, whereas I mean even the Lionel train that I do have, these little smoke pellets, they still it chuffs, but it still doesn't to me look extremely realistic. But But I would have to say that's all the locomotives that I bought. And I do see some people on the stream, but I can't read it because I got the monitor too far away. Unfortunately, I'm not really set up to do a live stream on the bench, but here earlier I said my new job is being a new job, and I'm a little bit tired of it, or not tired. I am tired because of it, not that I'm tired of the job. It's still new, and I believe I'm doing fairly well with it. And this one just lost its whistle. I had it, but no, I don't. Oh well. That's one of the disadvantages of the Mantua models, is that they have a tendency to lose the whistles. But yeah, I mean, this apparently is a smoker. I don't know what you put into it to make it smoke, but put these off to the side. And as I said earlier, I did see Chris Course, Congo Wing models, and he's a manufacturer of laser kits, and basically I bought two 24-foot wood tank cars. I have built it's based off his 24-foot flat car, which I have built before. I've also built the 24-foot box cars, which are also off of the 24-foot box car or flat car. Bought the KDs. I recognize some of the parts in there because of previous models that I have built, but I have not seen round before, so that looks like it's going to be interesting. I have not really done anything with the kit yet, obviously, but if it's anything like the last cars that I put together, they're relatively easy, easy to paint. They're not based on an actual prototype, so they're sort of a little on the fantasy side, but they're good kits to get started with. And that leads to the last part of the what I wound up buying was tools. Bought this cute little device, and basically it's gonna eventually possibly find a home on the workbench. Not the not a it's a hobby device. It's not a high quality hobby device. A lot of things are very, very loose on this. But it's something better than nothing. That's how I look at it. Because there's been times that I would have been nice to actually be able to clamp something down and be able to do something with both hands. Then I also got when I start doing valves and all that, these little syringes. One of those things I'm going to do my best to keep them as clean as possible. As I asked the guy if he had business cards. I just ran out, so I don't have business cards for this guy to get more of these. And last, definitely not least, is the 7-piece wire bender kit. There's 4 pins and 2 screws to help build, hold the bender into the table. So it's one of those things of I was sort of surprised that they actually count the screws as pieces of the kit, and they have like a little blue tinge to them for some reason, not quite sure. But yeah, it comes. You got a base. You got these 4 little pins where you can bend stuff in the middle you want, and you got the 2 screws that you would actually screw down into the thing to help it moving. So I'm not quite sure exactly. I mean, this might help out with piping on the locomotives and stuff like that. It's one of those things of this looks like possibly a very good purchase. But you said his name. You did say his name was NK. So I haven't looked that up since I've been home. But, that's pretty much what pretty much all the things that I bought at Amhurst. And let's see, put this back up here. And then we'll scroll back to the computer and change camera angles again. Okay, now I'm actually towards the computer where I can actually see the chat now. And here I am. All right, let's see who wandered in while I was over the other place. Nathan Nathan 5 Chime. Thank you for coming in. Is that a tea kettle? I honestly don't know. I have never seen that style of locomotive before, so it could be it. How you doing, Dwight Curley? I'm assuming I'm saying that right. Andrew Epstein. Sorry I missed you at the show and all that, but apparently I was able to find Keith, which was sort of kind of helpful because he was doing a live stream at the time, and I'm like, hey, that looks like in the same building I'm in. And next thing I know, there we are. The steam would burn that paint on the smoke box real fast. All right. Yeah, smoke. Yeah, smoke is all over the rails, and yeah, that's one of the things I'm seeing is turning around and getting rid of the smoker because it, as I said before, it just never really looked right to me, especially in HO scale. O scale, what they were able to, get at least chuffing, but that still doesn't look right. Hello, County Railroad. Still snowing there. When I left work, it was trying not to be rain anymore. It was rain, but not. It was starting to turn sleetish. And actually, apparently where I am is like right at the border of snow and rain, like right in between where there's estimates of 4 to 12 inches once it starts to turn over. There was a major meeting at work, and it was more about issues about people being on time and all that. And then when it came, right now we're on mandatory overtime because the company's trying to catch up to its orders.
and they're saying, "What about the storm and all that?" And it's basically, from my understanding, if someone feels that it's not safe enough to be driving on the road, call in and say, "Nope, not coming in." And a lot of people were already, sort of like, "Yeah, I'm not coming in anyway." So it's like, I'm only about 10 miles away, so I will be trying. Um, but it's one of those things. If I get there and there's only like, they had from my understanding, they have about 60 employees, and if there's only 10 there, it's like, oh well. They said it was okay to uh, okay to leave early because if it gets worse and all that, because it could, there is the possibility that it might be nice. The roads might be okay getting there 6 o'clock in the morning, but uh, leaving around noon because it's a half day. It's very interesting is because they have it set up where it's 10-hour shifts, but for 4 days, but there's mandatory overtime. So you're still working a half a day or 6 hours um, on the Friday anyway. So it's one of those things of uh, basically working 5 days, but uh, leaving around noon on Friday. So I'm we're not. I'm now moved into shipping and receiving, and my boss there is basically, yeah, no truck drivers want to ride in any of this. All right. Let's see. Well, hello, Crooked Reverend Eastern. Thank you for dropping in. Uh, I believe I got everybody. But yeah, actually, it was on. Well, hello, Anthony. Thank you for dropping in. Um, I was actually looking at. Oh, I'm blanking on his name. He had a live stream just before me. Uh, it's for some reason his Boxcar Jerry is stuck in my mind, but that is not the correct person. That's who I thought was going to be on, but then YouTube came up saying that uh, uh, that somebody was on live and they were just they were just turning off. He is one of the members of this model train community, which he's been doing this for a while now. But I'm completely blank on his name. Jim Tedesco. That's what that's who was live stream before I was. My original plan was to have his time slot, and then I happened to realize that, oh, wait a minute, he has the time slot. I'll move it back. So I'm between Jim Tedesco and Third Rail Thursday. And so that's where I'm at right now. Thing is, Anthony, you just missed you're gonna have to rewatch everything because I showed off everything I bought at Amhurst. And it also have to realize that I need to move computer stuff around in order to be able to do stuff at my bench, because right now my computer is it's nicely set up for a Zoom meeting and etc. But it's not really set up for working at the workbench, because the workbench is over there, uh, over to my left. But Yeah, that is true. It's it seems that there's always someone streaming, uh, and of course, the way I look at it is, just blame Heath because he's the one that said, "Oh, you should start a channel." Now, with so many options and all that, might be a little bit harder to actually uh, have a larger audience because the people who are already established, it's harder for someone who's not established to be able to sort of break in, unless they have some really odd hours or something like that. Uh, I mean, it's one of those things of, if you have something like really early. I know Keith had something where on Friday, basically Friday mornings, which he couldn't do after he got employed, um, where I guess Steve Childers has taken over that slot. Um, and of course, he was also getting a lot of people from from England because that's you know 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is around, I want to say 6. I think it's England's and uh, 6 hours behind or ahead. So they're at 6 o'clock. They're at dinner time by when he was doing that. Well, hello, Wigwag. Thank you for coming in. Well, so far it's a fine evening to be indoors. The rain. It was raining. Well, it was when I left work at 4:30. It was raining sort of bit. It was just starting to turn. It was more rain than sleet. But oh, hello, model citizen, and how are you this evening? Uh, yeah, it makes sense, Anthony. Well, my job has I was doing baling the foam, uh, because what I'm at where I work at is a place that makes mattresses, and there's a lot of foam waste, and basically what had happened was the decision was to have me help with shipping and receiving because I had some experience doing that. But they weren't quite ready. The guy who was doing that was not quite ready, to have all of a sudden, hey, here's a new person, go train him. But once he was finally ready for me, the guy that was teaching me how to do the baling had a family emergency, so he was out for 3 days. Uh, and so I was still doing the baling stuff until he got back. And then when he got back, that's when they changed me yesterday to help with the shipping and receiving. And so now instead of moving foam around, I'm moving a lot of paperwork. Um, it's of course being next to all the doors, for the tractor trailer trucks. Uh, it gets cold, especially when we we had some cold the past couple. Well, yesterday was really really cold, and I could just feel the heat being sucked out of me right next. I'm right next to the outside wall, so the heat's just being sucked right out of me. And did I miss someone? Okay. Shuffling, but no, there is writing on the paper. I would have to say there's this one form where we have to copy the numbers and who it goes to and how many boxes were involved. And it's been decades that I've written that much in the past 2 days. My hand didn't get a cramp and all that, but it took a while for the muscle memory of printing. Cursive is not in cursive is discouraged, so I had to print everything, and it took a while to redo printing. I haven't done the @ sign. Never had to really write that before, but it's an A with an extra curl on it. That and ampersand. Ampersand I haven't done in years and all that, but they use the ampersand a lot, so all of a sudden now my muscle memory and how to do that is coming back. Yes, I do know that cursive is writing, but they're looking, since they want a little bit more consistency, they want, to print the name. That's why it says you print your name and then you have your signature, is because they want to be able to. Not many people know how to read cursive, apparently, and since everything's done on computer now, kids seem to kids using keyboards so much and all that, they don't really know how to write. I remember sharing one interesting thing where the older generations, when they ring a doorbell, they use their index finger. Younger generations are using their thumb because they're so used to doing things with their thumbs that that's how they do it, which is sort of kind of interesting. Yeah, Z's are a little hard in cursive. I'm blanking out on how to do a Z in cursive. As I said, I haven't written, had to use a pen that much in a long time. But I would have to say, being at work, I mean, it's nice to be able to get out, meet people, and do and actually physically do something. I mean, last week I was pretty much sore and all that, but it was actually good to do something. That's one of the reasons why I went a little bit nuts with Amhurst, because it's like, hey, I got a job. I don't have to worry about, gee, do I need to not spend stuff and all that? And I think I went a little bit too nuts. But calligraphy. I have a friend that decided to take up calligraphy, and it's sort of like what I've been finding out with mattresses. It's like, oh, calligraphy, you just get a white pen and just do what you need to do and all that. And I've through my friend, he was doing a lot of stuff on Facebook, and apparently it's an art form of being able to get everything done correctly. And um, there was someone that did this really fancy calligraphy stuff using a fork, using the four tines and all that, and it just makes you go like, wow. But what did I get at Hamhurst? I got a lot of locomotives. Uh, basically, a lot of the locomotives that I own, they don't produce anymore. So I was buying locomotives more for along the lines of for parts. So there was one that I bought that actually said right on it, it's like for parts and all that, because there was missing a headlight, drive shaft, and some other details and all that. But it's like, hey, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for parts. So if something breaks on the ones that run, I have extra parts in order to get it to fix up. I did wind up buying one locomotive that I don't I never saw it before. Somebody mentioned earlier that it might have been a what's called a teapot. It's a small little tank switcher engine that looks like it could be from the 18 the late 1870s. Unfortunately, it's also the one that uh, I needed more of, because the plastic gears had just disintegrated on it and etc. So I'm not quite sure. It's one of those things of, I guess this is going to be uh, an exercise in experimentation of what can we do to make the actually make them all a lot more repairable in the end. Yeah, I would have to say spelling is not my forte. I'm so glad that, for the little red squiggly lines underneath. It's like, it's like, I know it's supposed to be spelled close to this, but uh, my sister was the English major. I like building things and got into well, model trains was sort of like my gateway drug into electronics. Um, and but my sister, she loved to read and loved the English language. She got into she also was a theater major also. Uh, but the interesting thing is that while she's going into college for theater and music, she wound up working in the library, uh, and she wound up constantly. She figured out how to fix the printers, and so that's how she got into electronic, not necessarily into electronics, but into being able to fix the printers. Someone said, hey, you can get into I don't think it was IT, but it was sort of like on the data side, where she could turn around and use the programs to get data for analysis and stuff like that. And that's how she got that way. And she was in that industry for years, and uh, then she wound up having to help out her best friend for a while. So she was unemployed, but since she was helping out with her best friend, they were sort of like letting her live there rent free. Um, and long story short, what had happened is that the best friend wound up moving back home after both her parents died, because the building was already paid for. So it's like, well, I have two houses, so they wound up going to. They headed out west, out towards Rochester. My sister and my now brother-in-law decided, well, why not get married? So, and they moved out towards suburbs of Boston. So, been snowing there all day at your place, Crooked River. So, what are the theoretical final numbers for snow? My area is predicting from 6 inches to a whole foot. And it's one of those things that I don't mind snow. It's annoying to drive on it, but as annoying as snow is to drive on, it's better than driving on ice because that's just icky. I mean, I remember seeing a video where there's an Abrams tank sliding sideways on ice. And it's like, I'm like, if a tank, which is designed to go up and down mud and stuff like that, is sliding sideways, it's probably not a good thing. But well, the time now is 8 o'clock, and I believe, I'm trying to think, who is turning cursor. 3 screens, and all right, let's see. GFW Trains is, oh, wait a second, correction, that is for tomorrow. Who is on now? Third Rail Thursday, February 3rd. That is Go Via or Go Home. And they're actually starting at 7:55, so they should be live now. And I will sign off and probably see people over there. Yeah, it's one of those things, Anthony. I like the snow, but I don't like, driving in it is, it's the way I look at it is I don't mind driving on snow. I'm more worried about the other people driving on it. But well, all right, I am going to be signing off. So the world needs more love. Find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it. So you are very welcome, Andrew. Maybe one of these days we'll actually see each other in person. But until then, I was gonna say, adios and goodbye and all that, and etc. And now all of a sudden I just happen to realize that I don't know the German version. So am I working on a layout? Yes, I am. If you look earlier in the stream where I'm showing what I bought at Amhurst, you actually see the front end of the layout. It's a small little 8 by 1.5 foot switching layout. It's a combination of the time saver and a micro nook. So, and that's what I'm working on. Eventually I will be showing it off. It's just that I'm still learning this YouTube thing and the live streams and all that. So but there will be a video of what it is and when it operates. Sorry for being a little tired, but take care, everyone. And I'm stopping.